No, Neo, you don't understand. No one will forget me. Cleon of Athens, I will be remembered. You're already forgotten.
Doing Leonidas' work. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Lark's Lamentations, where we take fictional factions and analyze them more so than necessary and see where they went right and where they went wrong, and to try and speculate on how they could be improved. And today we travel back in time to the land of ancient Greece to dissect the morons of the Aegean, Assassin's Creed's Cult of Kosmos. So sharpen your spears, polish your hoplons, because we are going back to the Peloponnesian War to visit my favorite of the ancient Assassin's Creed games. Before we get started, brief introduction on the Cult of Kosmos. The Cult of Kosmos is the main antagonist organization of the Assassin's Creed Odyssey game. Throughout the course of the game, your character, a self-exiled Spartan, Alexios, or Cassandra, will fight against the cult for the fate of the ancient Greek world, and for the fate of your very own family. So, with that quick little synopsis out of the way, we need to do a little bit of history, because before we can truly understand how idiotic the cult is, we need to have a better understanding of the setting, that is, classical Greek history. So let's roll back to the 5th century BC, to the end of the Greco-Persian War. The Greek alliance had destroyed the Persian expeditionary force at the Battle of Plataea, and all seemed right in the Greek world. Persia backed out of Greek territory, and the Greek city-states and kingdoms could go back to their business.
Games, man? Hey, I'm fucking somebody else.
However, some Greeks feared Persia might try to invade Greece again, so they decided they need to form an alliance to stand ready to continue the fight with Persia should the need arise, and thus the rising star of the Greek world, Athens, formed the Delian League. The League's job was simple: pool resources together to fund a joint military to beat back any attempts at further Persian aggression. And for a little while, this worked. Okay, maybe not that well, but still, it seemed that the Delian League was committed to stand against Persia and their desire to expand and dominate the ancient world, with no funny business at all. Athens, you put those imperial ambitions down right now. Athens, that is a very bad democracy. You put that treasury back on Delos this instant, young man. Okay, yeah. You hate to say it, but Athens started to play the empire-building game and went a wee bit tyrannical. Over time, the Delian League's funds stopped going to fund, joint military adventures and started exclusively enriching Athens. Once member nations could contribute by donating supplies or ships to the war effort, now Athens demanded money, and only money. At the same time, Athens was spending untold amounts of its funds from the Delian League into building projects like the Parthenon. And with Athens moving the League's treasury off of Delos to Athens herself, other member nations started to get fed up with the League's BS and decided they wanted out of the League. They weren't getting anything out of it anyway. Naxos and Thasos, islands in the Aegean, were the first to try and leave the League. Thasos even went so far as to say they would rather be a part of Persia than continue to be a part of the Delian League. Athens took that about as well as you might expect.
Aren't we forgetting one teensy-weensy but ever so crucial little tiny detail? I own you!
Yeah, the Delian League became less of an Athenian alliance and more of an Athenian empire. Eventually, the Athenians started getting a bit too big for their togas and started to rub up against the Spartan ally Corinth. As both continued in their pissing match, Sparta, who was head of their own league, the Peloponnesian League, because they're on the Peloponnesian Peninsula, right here, they started to take interest in the conflict with increasing concerns over Athens' growing power. Eventually, the members of the Peloponnesian League convened in Sparta to discuss whether or not Sparta should get involved in the war. The Corinthian ambassador chastised the Spartans for not getting involved sooner and pleaded for Sparta to go to war, as the Athenians had violated the 30 Years' Peace and had abused their power in the Delian League.
You would see all of Greece under the heel of Athenae, cowering from them like chided slaves. We spilled blood at Potidea, but now we need allies. The might of Sparta will halt their ambition.
The Athenian diplomat attempted to counter this argument by not even addressing any of the concerns the Corinthians brought up, and began bragging about their military accomplishments against the Persians and that it would surely be foolish to wage war against such a powerful state as Athens. Okay, a little translation. They were basically telling, now Sparta, sit there like a good city-state and let Athens handle the big issues.
I am a god, you dull creature.
Yeah, Sparta declared war. Thus beginning the Peloponnesian Wars, and our story. Now, this was just a quick overview. The Peloponnesian War has far more factors leading into its outbreak beyond this, but I won't bore you with the further economic, diplomatic, and geographic implications because the game certainly doesn't. And, well, we're running with the game here. According to the game, the conflict was started by the cult of Kosmos to help them cement control over Greece. So let's finally look at our would-be Greek puppet masters. The cult of Kosmos has a interesting history. They were born as an offshoot of the cult of Hermes decades before the Greco-Persian Wars. The cult was made to control or guide the Greek world, and perhaps even the universe at large, as the members of the cult viewed the Greek world as too chaotic, so they sought to bring order to the Greek world.
The powers that be in the Greek world weren't doing things the right way. The cult just wanted a clean slate.
Their first attempt was to ally with the Order of Ancients in Persia and allow Xerxes to take over Greece, thus pacifying the Greek world with Persian military might.
Your fate is sealed, son of the lion. Xerxes will unite us. He will bring order to chaos.
Actually, wait, hold on. Back up, whoa. Wait, that was your original go-to plan? You're a secret organization bent on control, and your first plan was just to outsource the job to the Persian military, while you guys just sit on your laurels. Okay, morons. Do something yourselves instead. This is lazy. You're supposed to be an all-powerful secret organization. Why are you outsourcing the problem? Never mind. Anyway, one of the kings of Sparta, Leonidas, wasn't happy when he heard of this plan, but the cult used the resources to try to stop Leonidas so that he couldn't do anything, they're just letting him walk away and they're not doing anything to stop him. Yeah, okay. So, Leonidas flips the metaphorical bird and went off to create the inspiration for a Sabaton song and Frank Miller's lesser-known works, and rally the Greek states against the Persian invasion. With the Persian plan shot down, the cult of Kosmos planned to get rid of Leonidas and his entire bloodline, as they had apparently developed a habit of screwing up the cult's weak-laid plans.
Lark, so you are after us.
Not you, your bloodline. People like Leonidas, like you, have always posed a threat.
In an attempt to destroy the bloodline, they used their influence over the Oracle of Delphi to say that Leonidas' youngest grandchild would doom Sparta and had to be killed. Now, for those of you that don't know, the Oracle of Delphi was basically a prophetess of Apollo. Their whole job in the Greek world was basically Greek diplomats and leaders, well, anyone would go to Delphi and they would ask the oracle for advice or ask what would happen in the future, and thus the oracle would do best to divine what Apollo had told them. Now, naturally, in this game, Sparta's going to ignore the last claim that Leonidas' grandchild would destroy Sparta, because Leonidas surely told the Spartan council that the oracle was nothing more than a cultist puppet, as we clearly see that he saw all of the... Leonidas doesn't tell anybody. You mean Leonidas doesn't tell anyone that the voice of Apollo isn't actually the voice of Apollo anymore? It's just being puppeted. It's just a mouthpiece for the council. You don't think that's valuable information? Okay. Anyway, Sparta believed the oracle regardless, and prepared to eat a baby off of a cliff, because they have a tendency to do this, only to have both grandchildren go over the side. Okay. The older one got up and ran away into exile, and the other one was taken in by the cult and raised as their own. Leonidas' daughter, on the other hand, went into self-exile. So, just to recap, there were 3 targets of the bloodline in Sparta that the cult wanted to 86, and all 3 are still alive.
Good job.
Well, at the very least, you indoctrinated one. That's just working out great, isn't it? Well, the other two will surely be hunted down, and they were left alone for decades. Why? You set this whole thing up to neutralize the bloodline as a threat, and you just stopped halfway? I'm sure this will in no way come to bite the cult in the ass. I mean, when has Greece ever given us any stories of revenge?
Telemachus. Now's the right time for your anger.
Ask my family for forgiveness.
Ignore those. Let's move on. Fast forward to the outbreak of the Peloponnesian War, the cult's plan is in full swing. Athens and Sparta are at each other's throats, and the Greek world is in chaos. All according to plan. Wait a minute. Rewind for a second.
He will bring order to chaos.
Didn't you guys form the cult because the Greek world was too chaotic? So your plan was to bring order to the Greek world? Your whole plan to bring order in was to make it more chaotic.
Chaos is our greatest strength.
That doesn't make sense.
Anyway, the chaos is supposedly a means to an end. The cult worked meticulously to infiltrate all parts of the Greek world. No Greek state lacks their influence. Using their control over the Greek world, they force the war to continue to bleed Greece dry so they can take over the Greek world. Wait, what? Okay, I'm noticing a trend here. I'm having to roll back a lot. Hold on. They're going to use their control of Greece to keep it in perpetual war with itself so they can gain control over Greece, which we've already established they have control over.
Herodotus, they control all of the Greek world. Everything.
Why? If you have enough influence to keep the Greeks in perpetual war and control both sides of the conflict, how much more power can you hope to gain from this? The cult already controls everything from the shadows. What purpose does the war serve to weaken the nations you already rule? And by the way, to further cement how stupid this is, the cult controls both Sparta and Athens directly. One of the Spartan kings is a member, and Cleon, the head of Athens after Pericles dies, is a cultist. Congrats, morons! You won! The Greek world is at your disposal. Further war only serves to weaken the realms you rule, unless... Oh, I get it. You're weakening the Greeks so that they can't resist a third Persian invasion. Actually, that kind of makes some sense. Then you're going to throw your hat in behind one nation entirely and then rule the Greek world through that singular hegemony. Then are you going to use your cultist army to claim the ashes of Greece and become overt rulers? Okay, oh so wise cult, what is the grand plan? What's the end goal? You do have a plan, right?
Tell us that we have a plan.
Oh, good lord. There's no plan. There's no endgame, is there?
This war will rage forever.
Oh my goodness. Alright, okay. But allow me to translate what their plan was. You see, they originally planned to go with option 3, actually take over Greece overtly and just rule as one nation, but as they started the war, too many members of the cult got distracted by greed and war profiteering that they forgot they had an end goal.
It was one of the methods, yes. But it was controlled. Until suddenly it wasn't. And then I didn't like what we were doing anymore.
Yeah, this really shouldn't be too much of a surprise once you look into the organization, as the cult itself has a piss-poor organization. See, there are 7 branches, each one with different goals and beliefs and aspirations, and in many cases contradicting each other. For one example, some want the members of the bloodline to be just outright exterminated so they can't be a problem anymore. Other branches view the members of the bloodline as divine. That's gonna make lunch in the office a bit awkward. Anyway, to top off the cult's idiocy, they ousted their own leader for Deimos.
Not in the way we hoped. As you know, she's impossible to control. She worked her way to the helm, and then she held even more sway than I did.
Who is the puppet of the cult.
You'll learn her name very, very quickly.
She's our leader.
I'm sure she believes that, but no. She's our weapon. She's difficult, but she does important work for us. I don't envy her position one bit.
But is also the leader of the cult. I guess Cleon's in charge. You know, screw it, this organization makes no sense. At least, for a secret organization, they do keep to their very secretive nature. You gotta give it to them. They've been able to stay in the shadows for so long undetected. At least they're not like some so-called secret organizations who wear specific uniforms in public for everyone to see and are easily identified.
Mess up. Got a fancy robe and mask. At a meeting place in Kidonia. I wrote down all the masked men's whisperings.
One had a mask. Never seen that before. A mask?
Oh, come on! You can't even do secrecy right? That's like the one thing you're supposed to be good at. What do you have? Soldiers with their own uniforms too? Oh, I give up. Why don't you just carry around a sign around your neck that says obvious evil villain? What's next? Are you going to tell the guy who's trying to kill your entire cult that you're part of said cult and dare him to kill you?
But the cult of Kosmos needs it done.
You're a member of the cult? If that's true, then you know who I am.
You're smarter than they make you out to be, Eagle Bearer.
Tell me why I shouldn't just kill you now.
You could. Of course, if I'm killed, the slave stays that way. And I'm the only one who knows where his papers are.
Are you kidding me? You deserve to die! Alright, I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. The only good thing I can say about this cult is they are incredibly fun to kill. I mean, holy cow, did I have a ball systematically destroying these Illuminati rejects. But enough of that. We need to see if we can fix these morons. Because really, there's not much more to them than that. I know. Kind of weird. Now, the obvious solution to fix the cult is to make it so that they never lose sight of their goal and give into chaotic greed. But I'm afraid it's not that simple. During classical antiquity, any time a Greek state gained hegemony over the rest of the Greek world, it only became a matter of time before another Greek alliance, typically backed by Persia, rose up and overthrew it. First, the Spartans rose up to stop the Athenians in the Peloponnesian Wars. Then, when Sparta took control, Thebes rose up to knock Sparta down a peg, though it took 2 wars to knock them down. Then, Macedonia rose up to break the very short-ruled Thebes hegemony. And then, well, Macedonia lost control over most of Greece in the wars with the Diadochi.
I've got to get out of here. I've got to get out of here. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Stewardess, please let me handle this.
I've got to get...
Calm down now. Get back to your seat. I'll take care of this. Calm down. Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone. Everything's gonna be all right. Please.
Sister, please, I'll handle this.
Yourself. I've got to get out of here.
And yeah, if you really want to overtly control Greece, you're going to need the might of a large empire like Persia or the Roman Republic, because the Roman Republic eventually would conquer Greece. However, for those of you that get a little excited, Rome at the time of the game is not in a state to actually do that. But yeah, and even when Rome would actually get up big and powerful, it took them several decades to slowly erode Greece. They didn't just go in one go like the cultists want to do. So, the overt plan is out. Well then, you could try for Persia round 3. That would be the simplest solution, and still keep the war intact for the sake of the game. Use the Peloponnesian War to weaken Greece to the point where its great powers can't resist another land grab from Persia. Heck, in game you even find a former king of Persia that, hypothetically, the cultists might be able to put back on his throne and use him as a puppet. I mean, I know this is a long shot and comes with its own list of problems, but it beats, well, whatever you were trying to do before. Okay, next option is a little different. Use the cult's large network to control and force the nations of Greece to unite in a pan-Hellenic league using the threat of some sort of existential threat, such as the Persians, the Illyrians, or some other northern non-Greek tribe, like maybe the Thracians or something. Once you have control over this pan-Hellenic league, you can force it from the shadows to slowly erode away the independence of the various Greek states, so that over time the overarching league becomes the only true government of Greece. I think that's more along the lines of what they should have originally been going for instead of an overt plan, but hey, it could work. And let's touch upon another problem that they come across, the bloodline. If the cult truly is concerned about the bloodline,
destroy the child.
Kill them both off as infants, and then whack the mom when she's grieving, or poison her food or something. Don't just leave them alone for decades, allowing them to gain strength and plan against you. But if nothing else, take a lesson from our dear cult. If you ever develop a plan, actually do something with it. Or if it's not working out, scrap it and form a better plan. Don't just do nothing. Don't just do nothing. And that is it for the Cult of Kosmos. Not a lot, not as much to say as some of the other factions. You can kind of tell we've switched gaming companies from Bethesda to Ubisoft with this one. And honestly, they are a silly faction. Kind of sad considering that these are sort of like precursor Templars. I mean, personally, I still enjoy Odyssey despite the silly villain, and it probably is due to the fact that classical Greece just has a special place in my heart. But for those of you that are kind of disappointed because you were expecting the Brotherhood of Steel, even though I did let you guys know I was putting that off, I promise the next one will be Fallout 4's Brotherhood of Steel. But I appreciate you guys for sticking around this long and watching. I really hope you got something out of this. If you guys like the Cult of Kosmos, for nothing else than just to killing them, let me know what you liked about them below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Toss some bread at my brother Raven, because, you know, he really needs it, and he also has to pay rent to me. And so I will see you guys next time, and take care.